Welcome to the all-new Sports Visions radio show and television show. For you folks on CTV Beam out there, how you doing? We always do this once a month. We come right into the studios. Chris brings the camera in, and he gives you an idea of what we do when we're chopping it up here in the studio. I'm DJ Jones alongside my good friend and traveling partner, Dale Williams. How are you, sir?
What's up, player?
Thrift, what's the deal, Bill?
Jam-packed show. Cannot wait to let it unfold.
Oh, absolutely. Excited for you. I'm excited for you, and you. Oh, hey, man, check this out. We got some outstanding guests on the show today, as always, and I tell you what, I don't know if there is anybody in the Bi-City, Tri-City area, anybody in the region that has the type of interviewers, or the people that we have on interviewing that we've had, man, in the last couple of months, because we've been on fire.
We've been on fire, DJs. You can't beat this deal today. I mean, it's the right time for it, and we got the right interviewee for today.
A couple of them I want to tell you right off the bat. The SEC obviously is full blown ahead. They want to play this football season. I know they're, you know what, it's almost like playing Russian roulette, man. They, double dare down. There's a couple of conferences that have opted out and won't play this particular fall, but they're going to try to play it in the spring. And I know that the Big 12 is, they're right there holding it steady. But the SEC and the ACC, they are the two that everybody's paying attention to. So why not have one of the commissioners on today to discuss some of the shortcomings and some of the things that we have to look forward to as we wait out this deal. So we got our University of Georgia Athletic Director, Greg Mcgarrity, on. He's a good friend, and I tell you what, we'll have an opportunity to kick the bobo, as they say, with Greg and see just where they are, and even with all the reports coming from the medical people from the other conferences that have decided not to play this fall. How in the world could so many different medical people have so many different ideas and decisions that don't coincide?
Well, doctors differ anyway, DJ. Far as it's concerned, when you got the Big 12 people, their medical people saying it's okay. You got the ACC medical people saying it's okay. You got the SEC saying it's okay. I'm going with the ones that say okay. We're going to play some football even if it's killing me, DJ.
Well, we get to talk to the man himself, and again, we'll have that coming up in just a little bit. Also, a little bit later on in the 5 o'clock hour deal, we'll have an opportunity to talk to one of the successful high school coaches in the region around Opelika High School's, the Opelika Bulldogs head football coach, Eric Speakman, and I know they're getting ready to play. I know that a lot of folks are kind of twiddling their thumbs. They don't know, especially on the Georgia side. They're kind of in limbo because they don't know which way to go. But you know what? Eric he's ready to go. They got a game lined up. They're going to play Stanhope Elmore, man, coming up on Friday.
I mean, really, DJ, from the high school perspective, from the Alabama side to the Georgia side, you don't know what to think of, DJ, because really everybody's really concerned about getting the kids back into school, and they're not really thinking about football too much. But it's a lot of information out there, DJ, and we got to touch on that today.
Well, looking forward to talking to Coach Speakman. They're a very successful program up there in Opelika. They are the preseason 6A, 6th-ranked team as far as football goes right now. And you know what? A lot of expectations from the Bulldogs. They've traditionally had a tremendous program. Just looking forward to talking to Coach Speakman and talking about the ins and outs of this summer, getting his team prepared to play, and again, and talking to him and booking his interview. Man, he is ready to go.
He's ready to go, and really, if I'm a coach right now, DJ, I'm tired of talking. I'm ready to play some football. If we're gonna play, let's play.
Well, one thing about it that we do know, and again, I know that there's some things that are going to come out here. Let's say tomorrow's different than today, and next week is different than this week. But as far as the local Muskogee County schools deal, we got some situations where we just don't know what to think. Everybody's quiet. It's kind of
nobody's saying that.
You know what? Sometimes that they used to say. The old saying was, no news is good news. Yeah. But I got a feeling that no news is not necessarily going to be good news. But I mean, it's going to be bad news because it just realistically, when you think about Jeff. Our Muskogee County athletic director. He's usually up front. But again, when he's not in control, obviously he's not in control of this. Neither is Dr. Lewis. I mean, obviously they're at the mercy of the Georgia High School Association, and whoever pulls the punches down. Robert Hines is obviously the executive director. So, it's just a lot of things to come out. Like I said, you see this show, you hear this show live right now, and it's Thursday. But you're going to see this show, of course, tonight, taped on CTV Beam. You're going to see it tomorrow. You're going to see it Saturday. You know what? This thing could be completely different by the time we come on the air Monday.
By Monday, yeah. I mean, you're right about that, DJ, because it's a lot of information that is out there. You're not hearing a lot of news. Everybody that's in the school system are more concerned about getting these young people back to school safe. When it comes to the football piece, if you hadn't heard any numbers of any kids testing positive here and there, we know that's not true. So I think really for us, everybody keeping the information and keeping everything right. And Muskogee County has always been tight when it comes to communication and letting information out. So we really don't know what's going to happen, but we do know that all things are not good. Hopefully we can get a football season started Labor Day weekend and this thing starts going. But really, the kids getting back to school safe, that's going to be the most important thing. But really, we hadn't even talked about the parental piece.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the biggest things I'm thinking about is school starts back next week, where it's going to be virtual, but some can come in. The biggest thing I think Muskogee County doesn't want to happen is tests going positive and scaring parents. So that's why we wouldn't know if there's been any positives or not, and that's why information is going to be secluded to people that are, important, if I can say that.
But you can bet your bottom dollar, the bottom line is that, the testing has not been public information for our high schools locally, right. But you know as well as I do. And again, we had some numbers a couple of weeks ago. We went public with the information that we did have. Over 600 kids in 6 schools throughout the state of Georgia had tested positive, and even a couple of schools had quarantined. But you know what? If we got 9 public schools here in Muskogee
right.
County. If the 9 schools were mandated to take the test right now, you know what? You would be out of your mind to think that nobody would test positive. Obviously, I would be. But percentage-wise, I don't know. Well, you'd probably be close to what the numbers have been. But I do know this. They've delayed the football seasons down in Louisiana to October. I mean, based on the test and the spikeage of all the tests and all that good thing. But North Carolina is another high school that has delayed it, postponed it. I believe it's North Carolina, South Carolina, one of them. But so it's inevitable. And what we've seen, Dale, with the conferences, and we've seen 2 of the big ones go down, and it's still 3 of the ones, of course, what we're talking about, the Big 12, the ACC and the SEC, they're standing tall, they're standing pat. But that was a huge deal for the Big 10 and the Pac-12 to decide that they weren't going to play football this fall, and they're going to try to play a spring schedule. I
mean, really, it was a big deal, DJ, really, when you start talking about the economic impact and really just how these teams have been viewed over the years for the Pac-12 and the Big 10, both big power conferences and all those things. But at the same time, DJ, when you start talking about the medical piece, and I know we almost got into an argument yesterday off the air.
When haven't we almost got?
I mean, really,
That's the success of this 16 years.
That is, because really, the SEC, they want to play. The ACC, they want to play. The Big 12 want to play. And I think really, from that standpoint, when you start talking about the SEC, you talk about national to me. And I think really the CBS has spent a lot of money on the SEC for their 3:30 games and the big-time games in the big-time league. And I'm not bragging here, but the SEC is the big dog. And I think really we weren't waiting on the Pac-12 or the Big 10. The SEC is almost like, Greg Sankey is basically saying, hey, we're going to play. The medical people have cleared us to play. And I think the same thing goes with the ACC and the Big 12. But one thing that I do like, though, DJ, we're going to have some hell of a football games if we can get it off running.
Well, again, that's the elephant in the room, and I know that the fan in me, the fan in you, the fan in all of us, we want SEC football, no doubt about it. But obviously, when you talk about this unknown, man, I mean, how you can't be, I can't get my mind off of it because again, I know how serious it is with people dying all over the world. If the case is spiking throughout the United States, and knowing that even the reports about the youngsters now, the nose numbers are going up because once upon a time when it first came out, all of a sudden, and it wasn't but a few weeks ago that they say, well, this is really prominent in older people and people with conditions or whatever. But you know what? All of a sudden it went from a couple of weeks back to now, little small kids, and record numbers, are contracting the virus, man. So, being realistic, yeah, and you mentioned Greg Sankey saying with the SEC commissioner saying that, but Greg, we know Greg. We in these interviews he hadn't had a straight face when he was saying it because you could tell in his mind he understands what the medical people are saying. He understands what the analytics say with regards to the spikeage and all the cases and all the deaths. So he realizes, but he's not speaking for himself. He's speaking for a higher, a stronger, a more powerful will of the SEC, so they have to keep the dream alive, and I know that it's their responsibility. So he has to say that they're going to play, Dale. I mean, because he came off off the record, man, last week, and he said some things that really shocked some people.
Well, really, I think really you have to be careful. Everybody's just real careful about what's going on. You don't want to come off unsensitive and not worry about the kids getting hurt and everybody's getting sued here or there. All these, all these things and all these question marks that people are really looking at. But I think one of the biggest things about it is that you got to look at the impact of the SEC and the economic impact in these towns from Tuscaloosa to Athens to Baton Rouge to Columbia, South Carolina. Well, all these markets. I mean, it's economic impact, a big economic impact, and then for you, people not working, money not coming in, it's a big deal. We talked about this in March when this thing first jumped off, DJ. It was about your health. Now it's about the wealth, and the wealth meaning from these big time organizations and the sponsors of all these football games to all the way down to people that work there. It is a big deal, and it's going to impact these cities. But I think really we need some football right now. I want some football because I'm really, I'm just going to call me what you want to call me. I want to see some football.
Now, to add to what you were saying with regards to economic impact, Dale, there's some numbers out there. And again, just to make it relevant to everybody that is watching, everybody that's listening, when we speak of economic impact, just in Tuscaloosa alone, we're hearing numbers in excess of $4 billion if the season is not played, if Alabama doesn't play their season. $4 billion, and that's just in Tuscaloosa. Now, you mentioned other cities like Athens, and I can only imagine that it's not too far removed from that number, and Auburn and some of the other cities throughout the SEC, but that's a huge number when you consider not just the university, not just the in fans or at least in attendance, but again, as we say, a lot of these folks and a lot of my feelings go out to a lot of the people that work in the concessions and work on the vendors. These are the people, and again, the people that work in these towns and the hotels and that are not going to have the monies coming in, and all the restaurants and the gas stations and the grocery stores, and this is all a part of the economic impact when you talk about the people that will travel to these SEC schools and SEC towns, these college football towns.
That's right.
That's what happens when there's no more football, or football is eliminated, if you will.
I mean, really, it's a big deal, and not just those towns are impacted, DJ. The whole state
absolutely
is impacted, and I think really, looking at it from that standpoint, and again, it's not to be cliche-ish. It's on the commercial with the SEC. It means more. It means more down south. It means more to the ACC and the SEC. And then, you got these big markets in the Big 12. You got Houston, you got Austin, Texas. I mean, you've got some big-time markets out there, DJ, that is going to impact tremendously.
I want to go ahead and address also, again, the statement that you made about the SEC. And everything you said is absolutely jam up. It's right on. However, there is another side of it. And again, we are the SEC guys. We played at SEC schools. We're in the SEC market. This is an SEC town. So quite naturally, we're going to speak to the positives. But the realization of it all, you always have to take yourself outside or remove or release yourself from take your hat off, take your Georgia Bulldog hat off, take your SEC hat off, and look at what's going on. We got two major Power 5 conferences that are no longer playing.
That's right.
That's a considerable amount of fans. That's a considerable amount of college football. Those fans in those areas obviously are very, very supportive of their teams, just like we're supportive of our SEC teams. So if they're not going to be playing, do you think that they would have an interest in watching the SEC? You would say yes, but again, you know what? Probably not. There might be a small majority, a minority of players or fans that would watch and want to keep an eye, but just because it's football, a football purist, just like right now, if the SEC wasn't going to play, or the ACC wasn't going to play, and Texas and all those schools are playing, I watch college football because I'm a fan, but you got some diehards out there that wouldn't give a damn about Georgia, Auburn, and Alabama. That again, you talk about the Big Ten with those Ohio State and Michigan State and Michigan and Wisconsin. Them people, man, up in the Midwest and even out west out there on the West Coast in the Pac-12, they don't have a horse in the race now. So it's not as important to them. So what does that mean? Well, the SEC is national, but when you talk about the SEC network, and then when you talk about those other networks, the CBS and all that, and even the national ratings with regards to the college football playoff, hey man, if I don't have a horse in the race, I ain't gonna watch. I'm not gonna vote.
Well, we all know this, DJ, that when it comes down to the Pac-12, Big Ten, Ohio State, you take Ohio State out.
Be careful now. Be careful.
I'm gonna give it to you straight right now. When it comes to those They got good fans, but they love football. And really, you got to be out of your mind to think that a SEC game is not worth watching or following during college football season when you got Alabamas, the LSUs, the Texas A&M, the Georgias, the Floridas, all these big-time people. And I like what I forget his name, mentioned, you got 45 pros playing every week. Somebody's going to be in the first round or in the top rounds. They're going to be NFL superstars that you can watch during that time. And the SEC is definitely national.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. But everything you're saying is absolutely correct, Dale. But you can't imagine or can't seem to think that everybody all over America likes the SEC. You got people that don't give a damn, like I said, about the SEC. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. You're watching WCTV Beam, not CTV Beam, and you're listening to WRCG 92.1. This is the Sports Visions Radio Show.
Bus is coming in 10 minutes. Come eat breakfast.
Hey, watch the homework.
Do you know if it's supposed to rain?
Where's my gray hat?
Where did you leave it?
It's your body.
What time does practice end today?
I like that headband. It really makes a statement.
Are you gonna wear this to work? Let's go, bus is here.
Liberty Utilities natural gas. So reliable, you'll forget we're there.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
It started with a few smaller bills. $50 here,
$80,
$100.
I had good health insurance.
Why isn't this covered?
Well, then they started getting bigger. $800.
$1,800.
I saved for this.
But not that much.
I'm glad I had Aflac.
They gave me money when I needed it most.
That's why Aflac is here, to help with the expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
I love that Aflac duck.
Aflac! Get to know us at aflac.com.
Hi, I'm Lakeisha Thomas Ligon, and I want to be your Phoenix City School Board District 3 Place 1 representative. I am a proven servant leader, a great listener, a people's person. And just to be honest, Keisha loves the kids. So on August 25th, let's level up with Lakeisha. Vote me, District 3 Place 1 for your school board representative.
And welcome back to the Sports Visions radio show and the Sports Visions television show. I'm DJ Jones alongside my good friend and partner, Dale Williams. Dale, we're talking about the SEC. We're talking about football. Talking about college football, more importantly. And again, really excited that we're going to have an opportunity to talk to one of the SEC athletic directors in just a little bit, Greg Mcgarrity from the University of Georgia. And we're going to pick Greg's brain with regards to the SEC, where it just means more.
That's right. It means more, DJ. And really, I think the SEC is just letting everybody know in the world that it means a little bit more to us. We're thinking about a whole big picture instead of just as far as the safety of the kids. Everybody wants the kids to be safe. And I think really, regardless, they're gonna pull the trigger.
I was just, we were talking earlier in the first break, man. To me, and I'm an SEC guy too, but to me, you're like one of those Dallas Cowboy fans that's obnoxious.
Please don't call me.
The love that they have for their teams, and you know how some, because we're not Cowboy fans, but when we hear these guys talking, and from Joe Norman here locally to the national guy, it kind of like gets under your skin. But I'm an SEC guy, but to hear you kind of gloat about, how the people around the country in different parts of the United States, they have to love to watch Georgia or Alabama, I'm kind of like, I feel a certain type of way.
I see, man. You're an SEC guy.
Yeah.
I guess that's that Mike slide coming out of me, man.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. I really have seen, and
I thought it's that home cooking that's coming out of you, because you are an SEC guy, born bred, and obviously, nothing is better than the SEC. No food tastes better. The same fried chicken could be cooked with the same ingredients in the Southeastern Conference and out in the Pac-12 But for whatever reason, you don't like that chicken.
I don't like that chicken coming from the Pac-12 or the Big Ten. I like it from the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's talk a little bit about, while we got this time here early in the show. You know what? In just maybe a little bit more than a couple of weeks, man, it'll be Labor Day. And guess what? Our SEC magazine is coming out. It's the Labor Day edition / football edition. You know what? If we don't have football, it's still the Labor Day edition.
Watch your mouth.
The hottest edition we have out of all four. We have 4 each quarter of the year. And we want to thank, first of all, let me just do this. Let me thank all of our sponsors, all of the companies, all the people that support what we're doing, not only with the radio and TV show, but that magazine deal has done wonders with regards to being just a novice piece that's in some of the storefronts around, whether it's one of our sponsors, businesses, or whether they go into a barbershop or a beauty shop or something and see it laying around, and of course see our ugly faces on the cover and pick it up, and they start reading about things that they had no idea about that's going on in this community that as far as with these kids, and it's just been a wonderful thing. And you know what, this is one of the magazines, and again we have an opportunity to do this, and we've had how many editions now, Dale? How many years worth of editions?
Put it this way. This is the 5th year of the magazine.
So it's roughly 20 editions. Again, one a quarter, one per quarter. And, we have, a lot of our good friends and teammates and contacts that we have. Of course, you remember that guy there. Most of you guys know this guy here. He's one of those national guys that really, really speaks loudly.
He does. You know what he is? And, I wouldn't tell him if I saw him in person again, DJ. But he is the black Howard Cosell.
You know what? That's a good point. And for those folks and those millennials out there who have no idea who Howard Cosell is, Google him. I think that you'll find enough. He's one of the great all-time sportscasters, because he's done all
like
boxing, football,
everything.
All things.
Everything.
Hopefully Stephen A. Smith in his latter career won't be drinking on air like we heard Cosell did. But
smoking cigarettes and everything.
Right. Had a lot of time. And again, I got to give Howard Cosell a lot of credit to my being in the business, and again, because I used to get in the mirror and I used to imitate all of the guys that were on TV, and he was one of the prominent ones at that time. This is Howard Cosell, and welcome to Monday night. There he is, the rookie from Michigan State.
He had a monologue. He was the man.
Yes.
But speaking of the magazine, DJ, it's another great platform for Sports Vision, and we get all the information and content that comes about from being in sports to put it in the magazine, get it out to our people in this area. It's been big. Everybody has received it well. And like you said, we thank all the sponsors for the magazine, being able to continue to support Sports Vision and everything that we do on any platform. That's been great. But 5 years old, DJ, and I think really even this probably has been the most difficult one, even with the coronavirus impact. But we still got a deal. We still got a lot of good content in there. Even if we don't have a football season, we're going to have a great magazine, and people are going to want to keep it. When you go to the doctor's office or you go to over at Aflac or at the barbershop, DJ, the joker just kind of steal the magazine out of there. So you
take it on out with him.
Don't take it out with you. Well,
when we were talking, Labor Day is just several weeks away, and we're right here at the deadline for getting ads in the magazine. And I know that we talked about last show on Monday. Hey, look, we had a couple of days left that, if you wanted to really get an ad, we would find a way to get it in. Well, you know what? This is the absolute deadline right now. If you were watching this program today, it's on Thursday, and of course, this weekend is tomorrow's Friday. Now, I can't speak for next week, but I can certainly assure you that if you wanted to put an ad in the magazine, today or tomorrow, Dale, I'm pretty sure we can make it happen.
Oh, we can make it happen. And Denise, don't kill us. But we really, we're going to stretch that thing. If you really want to be in, you got your information, you got your ad already kind of lined up. You know what you wanted to do. Denise can make it do magic. So, yeah, we'll make it happen to make sure that you have your ad in this 5th anniversary of our Sports Vision magazine.
Give us a call. You can call me at 706-681-1136, or you can call Dale at 706-681-5192. And then again, we'll leave it at that, and again, we'll move on. But hey, thank you so much again for all of our sponsors out there, all our corporate partners, and all the people that support what we're doing, because we couldn't do it without you. I guarantee you that.
Couldn't do it without them, DJ. And like I said, it's a great finished product, but again, it's an opportunity to show what our vision is. And really, when you can sit down and just think about it, and it can start off as a PowerPoint, and you look at it now in fruition, It's a great magazine.
Okay, all right. With a few more minutes here before we get Greg on the line, Dale, the athletic director from the University of Georgia. I want to talk about some of the other things that we got going on. Obviously, it's our goal and our dream to broadcast high school football games this season, this fall, to you out there. And of course, we're not in control of that. However, our intentions are to do just that: 8 to 10 games, and again, to get out up close and personal, because obviously we have a humongous award ceremony at the end of the year that has really gone national with regards to the respect and some of the notoriety of some of the speakers that have come in, and of course to our high school football awards luncheon. This year will be our 13th, Dale, and again, it's amazing to think that 13 years been in the making, and we've gone from just a little small 150 ballroom up at the Hilton Garden Inn to, of course, the beautiful 500, 600 seater down at St. Luke Ministry Center.
I mean, really, DJ, it's come a long way, and like you said, the 14th, that is going to be even bigger, DJ. But at the same time, we got to work in the sense that we might have to do this thing virtually, but we're really going to support our high school football kids in the whole Chattahoochee Valley. So really, being able to plan early, make the adjustments that we have to make. Hey, we're ready for that, prepared for that, and thanks for the opportunity that we had with the Female Athlete of the Year. We kind of know how to do things if we have to even make it to a show. And I think really that's something that we have to look at, but we're just going to play with all the adjustments we got to make, where we come from. If you can't make no adjustment, DJ, you can't win.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the wonderful luncheons and awards ceremonies that we do to honor our high school athletes, student athletes here a little bit later. But right now, without further ado, we have the big man on campus. He's the athletic director at the University of Georgia. He's our friend, Greg Mcgarrity. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, guys. Hope y'all are well.
How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing great, Dale. All is well here in Athens.
Wonderful, wonderful. Greg, obviously, man, since the last time we talked to you several weeks back, man, all hell has broke loose. A lot of things have happened. And, one thing that is definitely still relevant is that the SEC plans on playing football.
Yeah, so far. I mean, we have all been very cautious on our campuses. A lot of credit to our players, our soccer team, our volleyball team, and obviously football. They've done everything we've asked them to do. They have listened as far as masking, hygiene, social distancing. I mean, they have done a phenomenal job. And so, we've always said that we're obligated to give them the best chance to play, and I feel like they're doing that with the excellent supervision of Ron Corson and his staff. Nobody's better than Ron, and certainly we're moving forward in that direction.
Well, Greg, we certainly want to commend you because we know that you have done a great deal, and of course, the work that our president and again all the ads and throughout the SEC as well as all of college football. But I got to go here with you with regards to the NCAA. Had an opportunity to hear from one of their infectious disease experts, and he was saying how he was saying he was going left when all of our conference experts are saying that everything's fine. How can we have so many medical people so differ and have so many different ideas, or at least the understanding or confusion, if you will? That's it, confusion, because you got on one side they're saying it's safe to do it, and on the other side then we say, hey, look, it's not safe.
Well, I think, as we all know, that's why sometimes you have a second opinion on surgeries at some point in time on certain things.
True.
Needless to say, I asked one of our medical experts about that today, and, if you're dealing with heart issues, you want to listen to a cardiologist. If you're listening to, knee injuries or ankles or things like that, you're going to listen to the orthopedic surgeon. So you have infectious disease experts that are specialized in these certain areas, and you have cardiologists that are experts in their specified areas. So I think you're just going to have different opinions. It's like anything else in life. You're going to have people that disagree or agree to disagree, but I don't think there's a consensus medical model in play because everyone views data differently than others. So there's not a wrong way. I think there's several right ways to do it, but I just think you see so many opinions that it for the everyday person, it confuses me at times. but there are a lot of different ways to approach things. But what we do is we listen to people like Ron Corson and have total faith in Ron to lead us. And so that's where our trust lies in Ron and the other members of the Medical Advisory Committee.
You know, Greg, I want to applaud you for being a pretty good AD. You've done a great job since you've been the AD in Athens. But I got to ask you this question. Give our listeners out there an idea of what your day is as an athletic director during this pandemic.
Well, I don't know, all the 41 years in athletics, and I've never seen anything like this because, you know, we shut down sports back in the middle of March, and not having seen a live event since then is really unique. You know, right now our days are just filled with Zoom calls. You know, we had 3 today, and tomorrow there are 2 tomorrow. So it's a way you've got to learn to pay attention. When the Zoom calls, when they might get a little boring, you've got to pay attention. You have to be a good listener, but most of all, you have to be surrounded by really talented people. But our world has changed. You know, we haven't had an in-person staff meeting in a long time, and I enjoy the interaction with staff. I enjoy gathering as a group, just seeing body language and just, you know, seeing how people react to different things. And unfortunately, we're not really able to experience that. So our lives have changed for the teamwork atmosphere that we all had, and you guys certainly were exposed to that. You know, now we're getting it back with football and soccer and volleyball, and you see how those young people cherish those opportunities. And, you know, to see young people that have no end in sight, which are several conferences now that have canceled sports in the fall, you know, I feel for them because they don't know when their next game's going to be or their next practice or anything. So I feel for these young people that only have a 3, 4, 5 year window to excel in athletics. And of course their academic world will be okay, but you know, you guys know what it's like to be in a structured environment, and you always have goals to play towards or practice towards. And when you really don't have those short-term goals, it creates a lot of adversity.
If you're just joining us, we have with us the University of Georgia's athletic director, Greg Mcgarrity. And Greg, I'm going to just go right to it. When we talk about the situation as it is right now, you know, what's actually, or can you give our listening audience and our viewers an understanding of what the exact protocol right now with regards to football? I mean, are they in helmets? Are they in shoulder pads? Or what can they do and what can they do? What's going on right now as far as football practice?
Yeah. Well, practice officially starts on the 17th, and you have an acclimatization period there. You won't see helmets or striking or anything like that until well into the latter parts of August. But right now, there's our young men are going through drills as far as they're lifting weights, they're doing agility drills, things of that nature, so the coaches can be around them when they're doing these agility drills. But once there's a football out there, these young men are just kind of playing on their own. They're practicing on their own. But certainly they have to observe social distancing. They have to observe all the protocols that are in place for safety, because needless to say, if we don't, or we have individuals that don't abide by that, certainly we'll be in a bad spot, and nobody wants to be the person that puts everybody else at risk. So no pads, you know, no helmet, just strictly cleats and shorts and a shirt right now.
Also, Greg, when I know locally here, obviously when you walk in anywhere, a clinic or anywhere, not just a practice, you know, you got to have the temperature monitored. They ask you a series of questions. But, you know, what we see on the professional levels in baseball as well as basketball right now, you know, they have a system in place. And even in NFL training camps, for the first 2 weeks, they're being tested every day. What is the protocol? What is the system with college athletes right now? What will it be when they do have to report as far as testing?
Well, once the season starts, the Autonomy 5 group all decided on medical protocol, which calls for testing 72 hours prior to competition. So the plan is, for instance, if you're playing on Saturday, then you would have a test probably on Monday. You'd have another test 72 hours prior to the game. and more than likely you'd have a rapid test, the night before the day of the game. So there could be up to 3 tests per football player per week. So testing, and these young men want to be tested, and that's the one thing. It's not that they don't want to be tested, they want to know. So obviously there are certain traits that you track, that we all track before we come on campus, as far as temperature checks, how are we feeling, to make sure that when we do enter campus, that we do enter with the right conditions in hand.
Greg, I got to ask you this question. As a fan, and just say everything is going well and we have a game, talk to me about the ticket policy and what the attendance will be. Will it be 20%? Will it be 30%? Talk to us about the plan that you have in place for that fan coming to the game.
Well, guys, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off all at one time. When the SEC makes the announcement of we know who we play, we don't know where or when we play. I mean, we know where we play, but we don't know when we play. So once we find that information out, we are going to disseminate information on tailgating, capacities, who's eligible to come to games, where do I park, what's the ticket policy for the Florida game. We're just going to deal with all that at one time and try to educate people as best we can on the conditions that will be in play for the 2020 football season. But we'll do that once we have information on when we play, to be able to give everybody the complete information. We know everybody, I think, totally understands it's not going to be full capacity. Very few schools or NFL, Major League Sports either have 0 fans, and NFL, I've seen in Jacksonville maybe allowing 18 to 20,000 fans. Mercedes-Benz is around that number. So I think you'll see college athletics mirror those situations that have already illustrated they can handle X amount of fans in a stadium. Kind of like NASCAR, Kentucky Derby, I think they said 25%. So I would expect us to be in that range somewhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has one of the 14 greatest jobs in America. He's the athletic director at the University of Georgia in the Southeastern Conference. And Greg, I want to do this right now. I want to nominate my partner, Dale Williams, for SEC Fan of the Year, because we all, for the last 3 or 4 days, or maybe the last few weeks, he's just been telling folks how great, and which is true. And again, I'm an SEC guy too. He's been telling and bragging and letting folks know how great the SEC is, even in the midst of those 2 conferences that have opted out this fall, and disregarding those fans in those parts of the countries, because he's saying that, hey, the SEC is the best conference it is, and those fans out there, hey, to hell with them, they're going to watch the SEC. Great. Now, with that said, I want you to give us, obviously, and I know you talked to your other colleagues, the SEC commission, ADs and whatnot, and even some of the colleagues in other conferences. How realistic is it for us to think that, if everybody opts out other than the SEC, or I'll just say, if the ACC goes away and the SEC is still standing, is it a situation where we are naive to believe, or I'm naive to believe, that the whole country is going to focus in on watching SEC football?
I don't really like to deal in hypotheticals, but I'll mirror what Commissioner said. If you're the only conference out there playing, the optics of that are not really good. Right now, we said we got the Big 12 and the ACC that are electing to continue down this road. So I think, in our conference, our peers, I think we're all on board with doing what's best for our student athletes. And of course, anyone can opt out at any time if they're not comfortable with this. There's no pressure. There are no consequences. I mean, scholarships are going to be retained. So if a young person or his parents don't feel comfortable being in this environment, they can opt out. But as long as parents and student athletes want to participate and want to continue down this road, then we're fully supportive. We're fully supportive of young people either way. We just know that we have an obligation to provide the safest environment it can possibly be, and I think we're doing that, and a credit to Ron Corson and Aranda and our medical staff.
You know, Greg, the last time we had an opportunity to talk to you, I think we talked about some developments that are going on in the renovations of some things around the Butts Mears building. Talk to us a little bit about how those projects are going and how we are, for as reserves are concerned, for those donors out there that want to contribute some more money.
Well, guys, we're fortunate to where it's been perfect construction environment. You know, when you don't have many cars on campus, these big trucks can get in and out of the Butts-Mehre construction zone very easily. So that's been a blessing for them. They've been able to work. We're on time. We're within budget. Phase 1 is going to be complete in April of 2021. So we can see the end in sight on Phase 1. But, you know, it's an $80 million project. We've received signed commitments of almost $60 million of it, which is a credit to our donors. You know, they have an opportunity. Their gifts are payable in over a 5-year period of time. And so our donors have been fantastic to allow us to not spend our operating funds on construction funds. Because needless to say, if we weren't raising the kind of money that we're raising, then I'd have to borrow the money. And we all know if my house, if you're building on, or if you're adding onto your house and you're adding an $80 million addition to your house, you have to find a way to pay for it. And so that translates into higher ticket prices, higher donations. And thanks to the members of the McGill Society, we've not had to do that. So it's a credit to those individuals that have stepped up, that have helped us build the indoor athletic building, to build the West End Zone addition, and now this addition to the Butts-Mehre building. You know, our donors have been fantastic. We're still fundraising like crazy in these uncertain times, but needless to say, if we didn't have that influence and that level of gifts from our donors, you know, I'm not really sure we'd be able to do a lot of these things, because you have to borrow money, and we all know that debt is probably a very bad area to be in right now.
Greg, you've been very generous with your time, and I know that you know, you have a lot going on. But just a couple of more minutes here. My next question regarding member institutions, or maybe not just member institutions. We've been hearing a lot from coaches and players. You know, of course, obviously in the heat of passion, you know, they want to play, and we've seen the hashtag "We Want to Play" and all that good stuff. But you know, some of the coaches, I know Scott Frost was one out at Nebraska to say that, hey, we'll play anybody, anytime. But speaking out of church, if you will, with regards to coaches talking, if the conference makes a statement and they say that they're shutting it down, and then another coach says, hey, we're going to play, or we're going to keep it open, or even the AD of that school, if that's what we're dealing with. How do we respond, or what should we think of member institutions that will go against their conference AD or commission who said that they're not going to play? Then just open it up and say, we're going to play whoever wants to play us.
You know, guys, I think this is such a passionate topic. You know, it's a difficult conversation for coaches to have with their young men, that you're just not going to play. And when they say, well, Coach, when are we going to play? And the coach says, I have no idea. That's not a good position to be in. And unfortunately for these young people, they have no answers. And so I think they try their best to maybe put them in a different light. But I think the president and chancellor of Nebraska clarified things very quickly today, that they're going to stay in the Big Ten. They're a proud member of the Big Ten. So I think just people get passionate and they say things that certainly they may not think of the impact it has on others. But I just think it's sort of a quick reaction. That is, a lot of us do that in the heat of the moment, but I know that the crossover into another conference is ill-advised, and you know, that's just, sometimes the answer is not what you want, but as a member of a conference, you have to do what's best for the conference, and sometimes your vote is not the winning vote. So it's just part of being in a conference and knowing there are going to be outcomes that you might disagree with due to the nature of 14 votes.
Well, Greg, We certainly appreciate you, man. And, again, we commend you on the job you're doing. We appreciate you representing the university in the manner that you do. And just proud to know that we have a friend like that in high places, man. We appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, Greg.
Well, congratulations, guys, and keep up the good work. You make us proud.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, that's Greg Mcgarrity, the athletic director at the University of Georgia, gave us some information, and we can definitely run with it. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and pay some more bills and take a short break. You're listening to WRCG 92.1, and you're watching CTV Beam. We are your hometown sports guys.
Should planning your travel be more stressful than staying at home? Of course not. Here at Luncheon Travel, our VIP service makes traveling easy and fun.
Girls trip!
We've helped serve thousands of people and families experience their dream vacation by taking the hassle out of travel.
Thank you.
We book your flight, reserve your hotel, and make sure you have a stress-free vacation so you can enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you.
We even help you choose different activities that you're guaranteed to enjoy.
Vacation!
And the best part is, we find you the best price at no extra charge for you. Actually, 95% of customers save money and time by booking with Luncheon Travel. So start thinking about your dream vacation. Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, we'll make it happen for you. As easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today or log on and set up your vacation of a lifetime with Luncheon Travel, your travel agent for life.
E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse has been your most trusted name in men's fashion for more than 50 years. We've offered the area's best selection of top quality, name brand suits, accessories, and casual wear at the most competitive prices around. Customer service is our top priority. We're the professionals generations have trusted for the best quality and absolutely the best deals. We are E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse. We are simply the best.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price, with 3 locations to serve you.
Hey, my name is George, and I love the Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets. It's like me grilling at home. It tastes very similar to that, except the seasoning. I probably can't season it as well as Chick-fil-A does. The chicken's super tender, and honestly, the best nuggets I've ever tasted.
My name is Meredith, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese is the oven-toasted, cheesy top layer. If home had a flavor, it would be Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. I'm passionate about it.
Gear up for fall at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Big ups to the University of Georgia's athletic director, Greg Mcgarrity. Dale gave us some very, very important information, and, he's very poised, and
yes,
obviously this is not his first rodeo. I know that there's a lot of things that he can't say, but he was able to decipher and gave us enough information to be dangerous.
Yeah, he's pretty cool now, DJ. He's grown into that position, and, he's very, very humble, and he's doing a good job at Georgia.
Now, I don't want to hear your crap out there, you Auburn fans. If you want us to talk to Alan Green, you got to work that out. We don't have any problems talking to any of the athletic directors, or for that matter, Alabama or Georgia Tech or whoever you decide that whoever you root for. I mean, it's just that hey, we have favor in Athens, and don't hate, congratulate.
That's right. I mean, really, we need to make that trip to Auburn, though.
Yeah, Allison, we met him when he first came on board, nice and obviously, one thing led to another. But we opened up the door, we welcomed him, and told him that obviously we definitely want to have him on board. But again, it's going to take the favor of somebody out there, some Auburn fan or Auburn alumni that's listening right now that have enough interest to get that. If you're one of our Sports Vision Nation listeners or viewers, you know what? You'll go the extra yard to help us get him on.
And here's the thing, too, and no offense to Alan Green, but I would think Greg Mcgarrity, who's been there a lot longer than Alan Green, has a little bit more say-so, I would say, when it comes to the different athletic directors. So why wouldn't you want to hear from Greg? No offense to Alan. I know we want to hear from him, but I would go Greg first, then Alan.
Man, you got some Dale Williamson in you. Here you go.
And look, and I'm an Auburn fan, too. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, I tell you guys really don't know how to take off that hat and look at it from outside the box. You guys are just boom. You're right in that little circle, and you don't want to. Man, come on, get out of there. There's some Auburn fans out there that want to hear from the AD. I don't give a damn how long you've been over there.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right, Dale. Let's talk about. You know what? We got just a couple of minutes here because we got to go to the top of the hour, and then we're going to come back with head coach Eric Speakman from Opelika. But Zion Williamson, Dale, obviously, he has been the name and the talk, and he's been so much hype. They basically been eliminated now. Again, New Orleans Pelicans will no longer be playing. Again, they play. I think the last game is tonight. He's not going to play because it doesn't matter. However, he's coming. I guess going on the record to say, hey, now everybody's going to say, what's next? Well, he says he's got to talk to his teammates. He's got to talk to the people that matter, the closest to him, as far as what parts of his game to get to work on. And you and I both know from a standpoint of just watching him, he's a young kid. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not beating him up. But whoever has his ear, and I would have thought, of course, starting at the house with mom and dad, his agent, his head coach, somebody could say, look, Zion, you are absolutely fantastic, but you would be phenomenal if we get a hold and a grip on your body fat percentage, get your weight down, getting under control, making you just that much better, educating you on nutrition and what the good things to put in your body so that you can last longer. Look at LeBron and look at this guy and this guy. These are the best in the game. This is what they do. This is what we want to start you off at as a young 20, 21-year-old guy. And so quicker we can get you to that particular frame of mind, the better off you'll be.
I think you're exactly right, and I think really he needs a mentor. He needs someone to kind of coach him and say, "Look, kid, this is how you got to do these things." Because really, it's been a whirlwind for him, DJ, coming out of college. Then he gets hurt. Then they want to put him on a limited times that he can play. He only play 5 minutes. I mean, really, I see him more on the Gatorade commercial than I do on the court, DJ. So I'm like, hey. This guy needs some help from the conditioning standpoint. And you can see he's gaining weight. He has no control of the weight piece right now. And I think really the conditioning, what he eats, getting a dietitian, he has to have all these things, and you got to keep your hands on him, DJ.
All right, we got to go ahead and take another break. We're at the top of the hour. You're listening to WRCG 92.1, and you're watching CTV Beam. We'll be right back after these messages.
Sound that saved a wretch like. I wish I could fix my lips to express how amazing that love truly is. And even though those words may flow beautifully through a melodic tune, there have been far too many unopened conversations to the address of the elephant that is getting comfortable in our living room when it comes to the topic of being black. A simple color that you see in a box of Crayola crayons, the asphalt where we plant our feet, from the cup of coffee that we wish to drink, or a simple arrow planted on a traffic sign that can lead us to our next destination. Yet every day I find it hard people appreciate this color on materialistic objects rather than the color attached to the pigmentation of human faces. Answer me this. When it comes to the American dream, is it based upon breaking metaphorical chains, securing a financial augmentation, a damsel in distress rescued by a hero answering her cry for hope? No. Because this country has given us more nightmares than dreams, especially wondering if our children will ever return home. As a black boy in this country, statistics have shown that our most anticipated moment is receiving a diploma at our high school graduation. But hearing our names across that stage doesn't compare to the words, "Son, it's time you and I have a conversation." To explain the nature of you asking, why did the kids look at me weird on the playground in the 3rd grade? Or why did Jeff and Amy say that they could no longer play with me? In a society built for your anxiety. A crippling nation we live in, and the frustration of being the ones playing the music's sad violins. Now, you're young. I know, and I once found myself in your shoes, 16 and free, where my soul had a right to choose what I wanted to achieve. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Miss Parker asked. And as she was finishing up to the back of the class, I found myself throwing my right hand up to where it was evident. "The president. I want to be the president." As the class turned slow to me, I realized that no one wanted to address the elephant. That black boys can never be respected in that way. And while it sits back in 83, even today your generation isn't much more free than when I was your age. So son, before I let you have these keys, I must say something. Be cautious. Because even though you are a king, this world will look down on you as if they were better, making you feel like nothing. It'll make you want to scream, accusing you of stealing in the dressing room, asking the passive-aggressive, "May I help you look for anything? May I help you look for something?" And the stare you'll get from the cashier in the gas station when you're just looking for your favorite drink. Son, when you're on that road, think twice about speeding, not using your blinker, or making too long of eye contact with the stranger next to you at the red light. Because while it is your right to be on the road just as much as anyone else, the kids who are white don't have to fear for their lives by men who sit as killers in the skies. If you're pulled over, don't ever look at them directly in the eyes. Keep both hands on the wheel. And though you may feel disrespected, always stay respectful with a yes, sir. Because it's better for you to live and see tomorrow than to be another hashtag that'll occur. So as you lay your head on your pillow, remember this. Though this may be land of the free, the voices that came before you had a price to pay. And though black boy joy may cease, the fear of a black man shall never fade away. So in this country of peaceful protests, fallen angels, and all of the filmed violence, son, may you always hold your peace, but never hold your silence.
Big ups to the University of Georgia's athletic director, Greg Mcgarrity, of course, chiming in, giving us some great information, Dale, and some behind-the-scene, of course, that we've been hearing a lot of different things with regards to college football and what they're not going to do, what they're going to do, who's going to be in, who's going to be out. But good to hear from Greg and get a upfront and accurate report.
To get an accurate report, DJ, that was big. To hear from Greg Mcgarrity taking the time out of his schedule as an AD at the University of Georgia. That was big, man. Absolutely. And without further ado, somebody else that's taking time out of their practice actually right now. He's the head coach of Opelika Bulldogs, Coach Eric Speakman. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, good. How you guys doing?
I'm fine. How you doing, Coach?
Wonderful. Thanks for taking time out, man, to give us an update. I know that you're fired up and excited. We're hearing about what people can and can't do, but all we know is that you guys are ready to play some football.
Yes, sir. We're, in fact, you said taking a break. I actually got to come inside. We got a little rainstorm going right now, so we're getting some wet ball drill done with our kickers and receivers right now. It is pouring down outside on our field, so I got to take a little step inside and dry off for just a second, so I'm glad you guys called.
Wonderful.
But, yeah, we're going to kick it off next Friday over in Stanhope Elmore.
Wonderful, wonderful. Obviously, I want to apologize to our listeners out there. We've been obviously having some rough going as well. The audio is kind of rough out there, but we had a big storm yesterday, and then of course you says it's raining over there now. But that could attribute to some of the audio. But we really appreciate you hanging in there with us, and even though it's a little rough. But Coach, we got some great information that we want to release on behalf of your team. You guys are coming in right now as far as the preseason 6th rated team in the 6A of the Alabama High School Association football poll. You got to be excited about not being at the top and not being at the bottom, but right there in the middle. So you guys, you're not going to sneak up on anybody, but at the same time, you're not going to have the bullseye on your back.
Yes, sir. That's usually the case over here, but a lot of that has to do with the respect of they have for our program and the tradition of our program. Putting us at 6th in the preseason poll, really that's a lot of what happened last year, all these preseason rankings. But our kids are looking forward to this season, and they've been working hard since June 8th, and with all the new stuff that we have to deal with every day. But our kids have really bought into it, and they realize that's what they have to do in order to play football. So hopefully everything will be smooth, and we can get rolling next week.
Coach, I got to add a big question right here. What are all the things you have to do for as restrictions are concerned when it comes down to the game? How many players can be in the locker room? How many are going to be on the bus? Talk to us about those kind of things, off the field things and things in preparation for your game that you got to deal with that you don't usually have to deal with.
Yeah, well, right now it's not really a limit on personnel as much as you have to be able to spread them out. And they're going to allow us now to stretch out from the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line. So in the past, you've only been the 25 to the 25, and now they're going to allow the players and coaches to go from the 10 to the 10 so that we can spread out. And then as far as travel, we make them wear a mask in the locker room. We usually go half and half, tell them to get in, get out, get dressed. There's no hanging out in the locker room like you used to be able to do. Little things like that are a big change, and we're constantly having coaches in there, making sure they are doing that, wearing the mask, changing as quickly as possible and getting out. And then when we travel, we're going to take everybody. To me, it's not fair for a kid to come out and practice 3 and 4 days a week and then not even take him to the game. Even with what's going on, we're still going to let those kids travel. We'll take an extra bus now so we can spread kids out. And obviously they'll have to wear the mask while they're on the bus, according to our Alabama Department of Public Health over here.
Coach Eric Speakman is with us. He's the head coach of the Opelika Bulldogs. And, Coach, we were talking earlier as we were booking this interview with regards to some of the adjustments that a lot of people during this COVID-19 and the coronavirus for the past few months been making a lot of adjustments. But even up until just a few weeks ago, you had to make some adjustments in your schedule.
Yeah, we actually made an adjustment. We lost our Callaway game back in July, I guess, when Georgia pushed their schedule back. And then just yesterday we picked up a game with Stanhope Elmore. They had a cancellation, so we were able to match up next week and able to get those guys on the schedule, and so we can go get a game in.
Coach, how do you feel about your team? I know this is the most unusual situation we've had, and I know it's in my lifetime with regards to stoppage of routine and whatnot. But from a standpoint of the conditioning and getting ready, and I know your team is getting ready to play, in a week or so. How do you feel? Do you feel that you're where you need to be conditioning wise? Do you feel where you need to be as far as the kids on top of the game, as far as understanding what you're expecting them to do?
I like our team right now in regards to all that you mentioned. We actually started back in March with doing a bunch of online meetings with them and online conditioning where the coaches would check in with them through Zoom, and the kids would basically just put their phones down with the video on, and we could watch them work out so that we could kind of keep a thumb on them and keep them working through March and April. And then, of course, we got shut down through the whole rest of school time, so we continued that through May. And then luckily over here in the state of Alabama, we were able to start back on June 1st. Now, we started on June 8th because there were some things that we had to get done with as far as the organization of how we would operate. We took an extra week to get that done. But the kids have worked hard. We've got 34 seniors. So, we've got a pretty senior-laden group that has pushed these guys. And, if we had a younger group, I might be a little more worried. But with us having 34 seniors, it makes you sleep a little bit better.
Coach, you are in one of the hardest regions in Alabama. Talk to us about how tough it is to play the caliber of schedule that you have to play year in and year out.
Yeah, it's tough football. It's fun football, though. There's not a game on our schedule that you don't have to work hard for each week, and it doesn't make it, it makes it easy on a coach on getting your kids ready to play because they know every week's going to be a challenge. And then on top of that, not only in our region, but then we play Auburn and Central as our non-region. So that's 2 7As that are usually, they played in the semifinals in Alabama last year in 7A, which is a class above us. And then we've been open with Callaway the last 2 years, and y'all know how good those guys are. I was hoping to get to play Coach Wiggins and those guys again because it's always a good opener for us. You kind of see where you are going into your second game, which for us is our biggest rival in Auburn. So it's a fun schedule. It really gets you ready for the playoffs. So once you get into the playoffs, then there's not a team on our schedule in the playoffs, that's going to be anything new once we get there.
Coach, for the benefit of our listeners out there, I know that the program that you're coaching in is one of those must-have jobs. I mean, obviously, it's a great opportunity for you. But like I said, for the benefit of the people that are listening out there, there's a lot of young coaches, there's a lot of parents. Will you kind of go back in your history and your background and talk about where you've been and where you've coached to lead you up to an opportunity to coach at a great program like at Opelika?
Yeah, yes, sir. And it won't really. Shouldn't take long because I'm not one of those guys that has a lot of schools on my, my resume. I started as a student assistant at Auburn University while I was in school there under Coach Terry Bowden, and then took a job in Mobile for just a year at UMS Wright, and then I came to Opelika. So this is actually my 21st year here. I was an assistant for 18, defensive coordinator for I think 11 of those, and then moved into the head coaching job. This will be my third year in that role. So. Really, this is a great job. It's a great place to work, great place to live and raise a family. And we've got a lot of assistant coaches here that are kind of like me. They've been here 15, 16, 17 years. So it's a family atmosphere and a great place to live.
Coach, in addition to having a great community support as well as some great kids to come up through the system, how much of an advantage is it to be so close to a major university like Auburn, and obviously with the benefits of having the coaching clinics and the other camps for your kids to attend? How instrumental is that for you?
Yeah, it's nice to lean on those guys. You're one phone call away or 10-minute drive away, and Coach Malzahn and all the coaches really that have been there, Coach Chiswick, Coach Tuberville, have really been receptive to high school coaches coming in. So you don't have to drive very far to get some good knowledge from those guys. And then as far as your kids go, it's an easy way to recruit your players. We've had a lot of kids go play college football in Auburn. We've had a lot of players go to Auburn. But it is nice having those guys so close.
Coach, you mentioned earlier that you have 34 seniors. Talk to us about some of those top seniors and some kids that have made choices to go to school somewhere. Talk to us about some of your big-time players.
Yeah, we've got our running back, Eric Watts, rushed for about 1,400 yards last year. And I'll say this about our senior class. We have about 8 guys that really needed spring football and needed the evaluation of spring football in their film. And, so we should have some guys signing, once we get playing and get those guys more evaluation done by the colleges. But Eric is one of them, a running back. And then Trayvon Moore is a defensive lineman for us that's really good. He actually got hurt last year, so he's really in a bad spot right now as far as college goes. He has a Tennessee Chattanooga offer. And then we've got another defensive lineman, Ja'Kai Stevens, and then a receiver, Will Beams, that are probably some of our more marquee players. But we've got a really good group of kids that have been playing together since 7th grade.
Coach, you made mention of having to come in as a rainstorm, so you guys had to go inside. But I know that you guys have a nice indoor facility that you have to go inside. However, when you talk to our listening audience out there and some of the parents and coaches, again, and some of the people in the community that don't quite understand the amount of support it takes to actually help fund and build facilities like that.
Yeah, we actually the team is still outside. I got to sneak in with you guys calling. So we made, with no lightning, we were able to stay outside. Kind of cooled us off. But yeah, the facilities that our city has provided us, we're a city school and we're the only city school, so we don't have to split anything with anybody. So it's pretty much anything that you want within reason. Opelika is going to provide it for you, and we have a really nice indoor facility that we built 7 years ago. Stadium's really nice, and it's kind of a small stadium, but we didn't want a really big stadium that always looked empty. So it's a great atmosphere over here on a Friday night when we're playing. But the support here is just unbelievable. All the way from the fans to the mayor. Mayor's on the sideline with the police chief at every game. In fact, he emailed me today and said, make sure I've got some passes for next week. You know, we're going to have to sneak him down and put him in the end zone somewhere due to all these new rules. But, you know, those guys are very supportive of us.
You know, I want you to stay right there, Coach, in respect, and just talk about how, you know, continue talking about how important it is for your school to be supported by the city in itself, and you have a booster club also. Stay right there on that piece, because we know if you got a winning program, you're going to have some booster clubs, you're going to have some support. Talk to that again about how important that really is.
Yeah, it's probably the most important thing, and I'll say that's about Opelika. That's everything that we do over here. You know, whether it's the arts, our band is wonderful. You know, a big band support group for them, and then athletics. You know, our booster club does a great job of raising a lot of money. You know, you guys that put on your end of the year banquet know how it is on supporting these kids. How much it costs to run a top-notch program. And I tell all the parents all the time, we put our kids in about $1,100 worth of equipment every Friday night, from the helmet to the shoulder pads down to the shoes. And the stuff's not cheap. And, you know, we do some fundraisers, but we're also lean on our ticket sales. You know, we sell out our stadium most nights when we play the Centrals of the world and Auburn's, and a Callaway game will bring in a lot of money. But, yeah, you have to have that support if you're going to run a top-notch program.
Coach Speakman, I want to toot your horn this time, right around, because again, as successful as you are, as big a program as you have, with as much as you have to do, you're just as busy as any of our coaches throughout the Chattahoochee Valley, East Alabama, West Central Georgia. However, you made mention of our high school awards luncheon, and I know that you know, we honor over 50, 60 of the top high school football players in East Alabama, West Central Georgia, but a lot of that information has to come from our coaches. And for whatever reasons, you know, some coaches are more available than others with regards to getting this information to us so that we can honor these kids. And I want to commend you for the years that we've been dealing with you, and particularly, you know, whenever I call you, Coach, you always get right back to me, whether I need statistics, whether I need information on the kids, or whatever it is. But, you know, not all coaches do that. And again, I want you to know how important it is, because when you're trying to, as Sports Vision has done, when you're trying to honor and celebrate our young coaches and our young players, you know, it means a lot to us. But, man, like I said, all I'm saying to you is thank you very much for being so on point and so attentive to everything you got going on, because you have to deal with the scouts, and you have to deal with the recruiters, and you have to deal with your parents, and you have to deal with your players and your coaches, but you still find time to get us the information at the end of the year, and we appreciate you.
Well, no problem, and we'll always do that, because that's our biggest job as a coach, is getting these kids promoted, and especially the ones that can play football and continue like you guys did with your career. But so many of our kids don't play after college or after high school, so, you know, it's just as important as we get those guys ready, and we're going to do everything we can to promote every kid that we have over here. So we appreciate all that you guys do.
You know, Coach, we didn't talk about the attendance piece. What kind of attendance restrictions are you going to be under next Friday when you're playing?
Yeah, we're looking at our stadium at about 1,500 to 1,600, which is around a 30% capacity, I believe. I know Central's going to do 2,000 fans. Auburn's going to allow 600 visitor fans. I'm not sure what they're going to do on the home side. So I think most stadiums in Alabama are in the 30% range on this initial startup, hoping that if things can cool off with everything, that we can increase as we go through the season.
Coach, these percentages and these numbers of limiting fans mean something to some people, but not a lot to others. Now, programs like yours and Central's and some of the others that we've mentioned, how in the world are you going to take, go from 5, 6, 10,000 fans down to a couple of thousand? How do you? What's going to be the cutting or the breaking point, or how do you make your decisions?
Well, the biggest thing that we're going to do is it's going to be, first, we're going to limit it to families. We're going to give families of the players, band, and the cheerleaders first priority on tickets. And then whatever we can't sell to them, we will then offer to the general public. And, you know, if it sells out with family only, then that's how it'll be. You know, that's who should get to come in and watch, is the families of these players and the cheerleaders and the band members. So that'll be first priority. And then after that, we'll try to sell some general admission. So, you know, that's just how it is. But I think we've had a lot of people call us about season tickets. And when we told them that, they said, look, we completely understand. We just want to make sure we have tickets next year. And that'll be the case. We'll go back. Hopefully this thing will get back to normal, and we can go back to having some full stadiums to watch these high school players.
I mean, Coach, I think you're under a lot of pressure with that right there. For is that concerned? I mean, really making that decision on the parents being there, the band members, the cheerleaders, they get the first dibs, and that's fine. But doesn't it hurt your program when you can get cut to 2,000 people when you're going to have 10,000 at a Central and Opelika game?
Well, it'll hurt us at the gate, obviously. So hopefully, down the road we can do some things to raise some other money. But we're also going to live stream the game so our fans can stay at home and watch it, in a safe environment. And we'll do some things like that to continue to promote the program. But yeah, it'll definitely hurt at the gate when you're talking about a Central game where we would have 7,000 to 8,000 people over here, and now we're cutting it down to about 1,500.
Coach, as you run your program and get prepared to play, and I know that you obviously have your head on a swivel and you hear what's going on in other places with regard to, them moving the high school schedule back for football in Louisiana and some other places, and you got to feel fortunate that you're actually going to be able to hopefully get out the gates here next weekend.
Yeah, we talked in Alabama. I'm on one of our state boards as far as football coaches go, and we really didn't want to postpone it 2 weeks because we figured if we gave them 2 weeks, somewhere they'd take 2 weeks again, and the next thing you know, you're not playing. So what we wanted to do is, in the safest manner as possible, is get these kids going, on the regular start date, August 20th, and with all of our protocols that we have prove to people that we can play football in a safe environment and give these kids what they've earned.
All throughout the national news, we've been hearing about kids in high school not necessarily going into back on campus doing it virtually. But I know up in some parts of North Georgia, the kids are going back to school. What is the situation with Opelika? How are you guys handling that situation?
Well, we started yesterday. We gave them we pushed it back 5 days, and I know our numbers over here in Lee County have dropped off a good bit as far as positive tests go. And so we started yesterday with in school with our kids. Now, they had an option. They could choose virtual learning or in school. And we had probably about 30% that chose virtual. So they aren't on campus with us, which really reduces your numbers in the school, and which is good, with all the hallways not being crowded and the classrooms not being crowded. So we got going yesterday, and so far through 2 days, hopefully we have not had any hiccups, and we'll continue that way.
Coach, far as your protocol, your medical protocol, if a kid tests positive with the coronavirus, what is your procedure after that? Does that kid, is he just put out for 2 weeks quarantine, but to protect from the other kids on the team?
Yes, sir. If anybody tests positive, you're out 10 days. And then the Department of Public Health is supposed to contact trace and see who they were close to. And unfortunately, those kids that they deem were close to them were actually out 14 days. They're actually out longer than the kids that test positive. So what we've done with our structure here at our football building is it's also a 6 foot for 15-minute rule. So if they were next to each other within 6 feet for over 15 minutes, then that's when they deem that the kid would have to be out for 14 days. So what we've done here, as much as possible, is keep them away from each other, so that one kid isn't going to cost 2 or 3 more to have to be out.
Coach, what we'd like to do, and I know that the spotlight is on you, and you are the face of the Bulldogs program, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk about your assistant coaches and how much they mean to you and what they do.
Yeah, they do a ton of work around here. No program is good without assistant coaches. And Jonathan Chandler's our offense coordinator and does a great job with our offense, and he's got a staff of Jamie Ferguson at tight ends, and Lamar Prescott coaches our offensive line, along with Jared Fleming. Montre Battle coaches our receivers, and Zach Black coaches our kickers. And then on defense, Adam Massey's our defense coordinator, coaches our linebackers. I still coach the safeties. That's one of my passions, is coaching defensive backs. So I still work back there with them, with Mike Murray and our corners, and Alex Dowdell, Jimmy Johnson, and Kenny Prescott round out our defensive staff. And I tell you, 6 of those guys played here. So it means a whole lot more to them, and it means a lot to the kids when those guys talk about playing here back in the day, as the kids call it.
Coach Spiegman, we appreciate you, big guy. We look forward to following you here on this season. I know you rank right now 6th in 6A, but I'm sure that you guys have your eyes set on winning a state championship.
Hey, we appreciate you having us on today, and y'all call us anytime. We love to promote our kids. So.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day.
Yes,
Go
sir.
Dogs.
Yes, sir. As Coach Eric Speakman over at Opelika, the Opelika Bulldogs.
Opelika Bulldogs.
They're red and black, too.
They're red, I'm telling you.
All right. We'll take another break. You are listening to WRCG 92.1, and you're watching CTVB. This is the Sports Visions Radio Show.